Brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast.
I wouldn't change anything. I'm walking perfection. I'm an Adonis. Pure strength, power, agility, intelligence. I mean, why would I change any of that? Get started then. What up, everybody? Welcome to the You Gonna Eat That Crust podcast. I'm your host with the most on the ones and twos. You know they call me Mount Crushmore. It's your boy, Ryan Wilson. And with me tonight, the razor blade himself, King of Connecticut, mustard smuggler, Sheamus Rogers. Sheamus, what's good?
What up? Don't forget I'm off time traveler. I've been everywhere, man.
Hey.
He's been everywhere, man.
Also with me tonight, the sweatpants overlord, follically challenged himself, Greg Howie. Greg, what's going on?
All day, I thought it was just going to be Sheamus and I, because we thought that you were going to be off saving the world one chicken sandwich at a time.
No, Greg, I'm here. And speaking of time, Sheamus, can you tell us what tonight's show is about?
Well, anyways, so tonight we're doing a movie review. We're talking about Back to the Future, 1985. This is starring Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, Crispin Glover, and Thomas Wilson as Biff Tannen. Directed by Robert Zemeckis. He co-wrote it with Bob Gale. Even Steven Spielberg was involved as well. His name helped.
You forgot somebody. You forgot Billy Zane.
What? How was his involvement?
He's in the movie.
What part?
He's one of the henchmen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, Zemeckis is kind of a legend. Some of his movies include Forrest Gump, Castaway, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Death Becomes Her, Romancing the Stone, Contact, What Lies Beneath, and on and on. This guy's done a lot. This movie was a huge hit. It made $389 million in the box office.
Damn.
So, Greg, I have some questions for you before we get into the movie. I want to see how well you paid attention. I'm not asking Ryan because he didn't watch the movie. He's going on memory. But if Ryan, you have the answer, feel free.
I do want to stress how important it is that one of us doesn't watch the movie every single time.
I mean, I like the dynamic, the unknown random factor.
Wow,
Greg, let's see how well you pay attention. Yes, exactly. Greg,
Yes.
what was the name of Marty's high school band?
Oh, fuck. I knew this, too. I was paying attention. I knew that Huey Lewis was in the news right there, judging him. Fuck. It was the bad something. Fuck, I've passed.
The Pinheads.
The Pinheads! Ugh. Fuck,
We're so close.
Pain.
Yeah, very close. Bad answer.
Bad answer.
What was on the license plate of the DeLorean?
Time. I'm fucking too much time. Just in time.
Out of time.
Out of time. Best memory on the pod wins again.
What is the precise miles per hour the DeLorean needs to be traveling to enable time travel?
88 miles per hour.
There you go. Ding, ding. In the movie, his girlfriend's name is Jennifer. What's her last name?
What are we going to be, assholes? No, fuck. I don't know.
Peter Parker.
Jennifer Parker.
Parker!
And what was Doc Brown's dog's name?
Einstein.
There you go. Doc's character was kind of, in essence, created on Einstein.
Yeah, he was a piece of shit to Einstein. He's like fucking sacrificing his dog. He's like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
Pretty much. What time was it when Einstein traveled in the DeLorean?
Like the date or like the...
Both. Either one.
He went... I thought he went... Didn't he go 90 seconds back in time?
He actually went in the future by a minute.
Well, he went back to the future.
No. He went to the future and came back.
I get so confused.
He put him 1 minute ahead of 1:20 a.m. was when the DeLorean first launched, went to the future. And it was October 26th.
Nothing good happens after 1:20 a.m.
Oh, shit.
What is Marty's father's name? First name?
Like Crispin Glover?
Yes.
Oh, it's George.
There you go.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the dance that his parents attended?
The Enchantment Under the Sea.
Yes, nice. Came back with a few. Very good.
Hey, Marvin!
All right. So the movie starts off at Doc's house. You know, it shows off a bunch of his hobby of collecting clocks. Did you notice the one clock with the man hanging from the long arm?
I did. I got that written down. I was going to ask you that. Obviously, he knows what happens.
Yeah, and you could tell, like, he hasn't been home in a while. I mean, they pan to an article about a fire at the Brown house mansion. You know, they never really quite explain this, but my assumption is he burned it down to get the insurance money to build his time machine.
Yes, that's what the as well.
Or maybe his wife was a bitch.
Oh shit!
I don't think eccentric scientist types are the married types.
He was married to his dog. All right.
Yeah, except he was willing to sacrifice his dog real quick.
That's true. Look how much he was feeding him, though. He was fucking overfeeding the dog like crazy.
Guess when you've been married long enough, right?
Yeah.
So, and then there's a news story on the TV about some stolen plutonium. And it's kind of, and then there's like some inventions going on. It's kind of like the beginning of Pee-wee's Playhouse. Or not Pee-wee's Big Adventure. He's got a can opener opening up some dog food and dropping it into a bowl, and it's overfilling, so obviously you can tell he hasn't been there in a while. And then Marty comes in, calling after Doc. He kicks his skateboard underneath the bed where we see the crate with the radioactive sticker on and the words plutonium, handled with care.
Right. Laying it all out for us. I
mean, and it really does, because a lot of things you realize later on, or when you watch it again, I don't know, but so then he talks to Doc, and he tells them to meet him later. I don't remember exactly the time, 1-ish a.m. in the mall parking lot. So he takes a skateboard and he heads off to school, and this scene where he's just grabbing onto vehicles and letting them pull him and stuff like that.
All right, one of the greatest intros in movie history, I think. Huey Lewis ripping in the background, and Michael J. Fox inspired me to do that stupid-ass thing of holding onto a car whilst riding a skateboard. And he invented van surfing.
Yeah.
Oh, Teen Wolf.
Do you know what that is, though? That is the power of love.
There's lots of Huey in this movie, for sure.
Oh, my God, yeah. Acting and fucking music.
Huey Lewis may have professed that you don't need money, but he must have made a boatload from the popularity of this movie.
Yeah. He wants to go back in time and do it again.
He actually almost passed on doing the movie.
Really?
In the end, he wrote not one, but 2 songs for the movie. Power of Love, which they open with, and Back in Time, which I think they close with.
That's old news.
Yeah, like 30 years old.
Oh, no, that's Huey Lewis in the news, actually.
Hey.
So Power of Love was the band's first time topping the Billboard 100. Actually got them nominated for an Academy Award, but ended up losing to Lionel Richie's Say You, Say Me.
Great song.
So yeah, you got him hitching a ride on this, holding on to vehicles, skating to his school. He waves at a whole gym full of women doing aerobics. I don't understand that, but it just made me want to skateboard again for sure.
He's sketching.
But I know that's a bad idea, as things don't heal so well anymore. But so then he gets to school and we get introduced to his girlfriend Jennifer
Parker.
And, yes, and she's worried about him being late again, and they're hiding from Mr. Strickland, who comes out of nowhere. And this is where we meet Mr. Strickland, who clearly doesn't appreciate Marty and clearly has a history with his father.
He's a slacker.
Yes.
And you're a slacker, too.
True. I kind of want a prequel, like Young McFly, the history between, George, Biff, and Mr. Strickland. Like, see them all at school.
Mr. Strickland's like an asshole. George McFly is like a fucking loser, and he's like being an asshole to him. He's like a fucking nerd already getting picked on by Biff and everybody. Yet Mr. Strickland's a piece of shit to him.
So yeah, then we get the scene where he writes, he gives them both like tardy slips or whatever, and then it comes to the scene with the auditions for the band, the music concert or whatever.
Oh, you mean the Pinheads?
Yes, the Pinheads come on and play, and I never realized till this time watching it that was actually Huey Lewis on the megaphone. Thank you, fellas. I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
You're just too darn loud. They're playing their hard rock and roll like Huey Lewis in the news.
So then it's after school. Marty comes home to find Biff bullying his dad. This is our first scene with Biff and actually his father, I believe.
Biff's such a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, this is when they're older, obviously they have children, but yeah, he's still just like a high school bully.
But in real life, he turned out to be our former president.
Hey, Tom Wilson.
So, then this is fun. He's like, "What are you looking at, butthead? Say hello to your mom for me."
Yeah, no, I crashed the car. He's like, I got this beer all over me. He's like,
yeah, that's right.
Who's gonna pay for this dry cleaning?
Right. Oh yeah, and so Marty's upset because he was going to take the car to the cabin in the woods or whatever with his girlfriend Jennifer, which he didn't tell his parents about. So then the family dinner. You get to meet his mom, Leah Tomlin. She's like, obviously they've aged her for this scene. Unhealthy family dynamics. The whole family seems stunted and depressed. His siblings, man, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a great setup for the Uncle Joey joke later, though. We're like, Uncle Joey didn't make it out of prison again. They got the cake, and then obviously when we flash back,
yes, later on in the past, you see baby Uncle Joey in the playpen or whatever, like at the bars, like jail bars.
You're gonna get used to those bars.
Yeah.
That's why this movie's fucking great. There's just so many fucking killer jokes and awesome jokes, and
yeah, I mean, this is one of the most popular movies of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a classic for sure. So then we pass some time. Marty must sneak out of the house. I don't know. He goes and meets Doc at the mall. And this is where we see Doc's truck, Dr. E. Brown Enterprises, 24-hour scientific services. We get our first look at the DeLorean as Doc pulls it out. And Doc dressed... He's like, Doc, is that a Devo suit?
Fun fact, Jim Varney, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bought a DeLorean.
Ernest?
Yeah.
Ernest P. Whirl.
He made an earnest living, and he bought a DeLorean.
He passed, right?
He
Jim
did.
Varney?
Yeah. I just listened to the Death and Entertainment on. That's why I said that.
Nice.
That's how I knew that.
You know what I mean, Vern? So they, they go through the experiment. Doc's controlling the DeLorean with an RV controller, and they send Einstein the dog to 1 minute to the future. He comes back and he's all right, thankfully.
Yeah, right. Right by J.C. Penney's.
Yes, you don't see many of those anymore. And this is where the Libyans show up. Funny scene, like they're just driving up in a van, just because Doc stole the plutonium from them. They wanted him to make a bomb or something, right?
Yeah, he put like what did he put in there? Magnets. I forgot what he put in the bomb. The fuck did he fill it with? Oh, full of pinball parts. He gave them a bomb full of pinball parts, and he kept the plutonium.
Nice. So they show up, they shoot Doc, and then they turn their attention to Marty. He uses the car to escape. He's driving around the mall parking lot, getting shot at. Right? They pull out a rocket launcher. Because the guy's a terrible shot. He's been shooting at him with like an AK for like 2 minutes, driving around the parking lot.
Right.
But then he finally hits 88 miles per hour, and he's gone 30 years to the past.
And how about the music?
Kind of reminds me of like Jurassic Park music.
Yeah, it's intense. It's awesome. The whole scene's awesome.
And they were actually, Spielberg was doubting the composer. He didn't want to do him until he listened to the theme song, and he was like, yeah, he nailed it. For 30 years to the past, and I have to note this movie is almost exactly 30 years old from today.
Jesus, really?
Well,
yeah, I think
we obviously knew that, and that's why we did it today.
Good job,
I think next year will be the 30 years, so maybe it'll be like make a resurgence.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they'll have like a sequel or a prequel hit in the works that we don't know about. Obviously, that probably doesn't happen anymore. A movie of that caliber, someone would know.
I thought Ryan said he was working on it, but it was shaky.
I think Ryan's full of shit.
Oh, okay.
Don't ever believe anything that comes out of Ryan's mouth.
Fucking chicken sandwich.
So, anyways, he goes back to 30 years in the past. He's going 88 miles per hour, so he just warps back and he crashes into some random family's barn.
Yeah, that was awesome.
They come all running, flying out to the barn with like a shotgun. He steps out in the radiation suit, scares the family. This was back when like there was a lot more silliness and humor to movies. Now it's all the serious drama. But the kid is funny. The kid of the family is like, "It's already mutated into human form. Shoot it!" Yeah. So, anyways, he drives away, but he runs out of gas or plutonium or whatever that keeps the car going. So the car stalls. He pushes it behind a billboard sign, covers it with leaves or branches and leaves.
What's the billboard sign? What is that sign?
Wasn't it for Lyon's Estates?
Lyon Estates, yeah.
That's where Marty and his family live in the future.
Very convenient.
They show a scene, it's in the process they're clearing the grounds for construction. So he walks downtown. It's obviously very different from what he remembers. The old church bell clock tower still works. And he stumbles into the diner to use the phone.
Yeah.
He was looking up Doc Brown, and he's trying to give him a call. And he sits down, orders a Pepsi Free.
Pepsi Free. He's all about Pepsi Free.
I didn't even remember Pepsi Free at all.
Oh, I do. Yeah, caffeine free.
Calorie free or caffeine? Yeah, not calorie. Caffeine free. Right?
Yeah,
Sounds awful. Especially 30 years ago. It must have been disgusting.
Yeah.
Maybe it was still made with that real cocaine back then.
No, I think the more plausible reason is because Pepsi was paying them to push Pepsi Free, because what teenager is going to be like, give me some Pepsi Free?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I think it was advertising.
Bastards.
That makes sense.
Unknowingly, he ends up sitting next to his dad, George McFly.
Crispin Glover.
and in walks Biff with his goons and
Billy Zane.
Same antics with his father. Like 30 years later, he's just a bully.
Literally the same
no
exact
respect.
antics.
Yeah, the same lines and
It's
everything.
the same line about like sleep. He says the same line about him doing his homework, and then he says, "Because I forgot to say it."
I need time to copy it because it's not your right handwriting or whatever.
Yeah, but in the beginning he says, he's like, "But not too early. I sleep in on the weekends."
Right, I sleep in on Saturday.
He says the same thing to him here.
Right. So Biff hasn't changed in 30 years.
He's still cool.
So his dad flees the diner. He ends up following him. He finds his dad in a tree, peeping on his younger mom version.
He's a peeping Tom.
And this is where he begins impacting things and possibly changing the future. Because he ends up getting hit by Lorraine, Marty's future mother. Lorraine's father ends up hitting him with his car when he was supposed to hit George, right?
Dude, and that was like the funniest of the movie to me is when the father goes, "Lorraine, why are those damn kids right in front of my car again?"
He obviously has hit a few kids in the neighborhood.
It fucking killed me. I was like, oh man. And then just the fact that George McFly is just a peeping Tom. It's like, okay. So we're done with that.
No, so weird. So he gets hit by the car, and they must bring him inside. He's unconscious. He wakes up in his mom's bed, and she's taking his pants off. She's never seen purple underwear before.
Just calling him Calvin.
Calling him Calvin, right? Because he
Yep.
obviously was wearing Calvin Klein underpants.
Well, that's your name, isn't it? It's written all over your underpants.
Yeah. So this is when she first starts getting smitten with her future son.
Yeah, it's so creepy.
Well, it's also the future of Pornhub, too.
Ew.
So he ends up having dinner with the family. They're questioning him about things. He's evasive.
2 TVs. You guys must be rich.
Right. They just got their first TV, and they ask him if he has a TV, and he says, "Yeah, we have 2 of them." And yeah, you must be rich. The kid. Who is the kid in this? I know I've seen
He's
him.
from what's Fred Savage show?
Growing Pains.
Wonder Year.
Not Growing Pains.
Or Wonder Years.
You Wonder Years. Yeah, he's the kid from the Wonder Years.
He's his little brother, right?
He's the brother, yeah.
Yeah. So Lorraine's little brother is the older brother from the Wonder Years.
Wayne.
He's unmistakable.
Yes.
I kind of want to look him up now to see what he looks like.
I know, he probably looks ridiculous.
So, anyways, he ends up. They want him to stay the night, and Lorraine's like giving him sexual overts, and he flees the house.
And that's when the father has also another one of the best lines. He's like, he's an idiot. He's like, his parents are probably idiots too. He's like, Lorraine, if you ever have a kid like that, I'm disowning you.
That's right.
It made me want to think
Just
about it.
great lines like that.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
So he tracks down the version of Doc from the past. He finally finds him. Doc doesn't believe what he's telling him. He shows him the video that he recorded in the mall parking lot before he went back in time. So this is when he looks at the photo, right, of him and his siblings and his brother. He knows his brother's head is gone. He's starting to disappear. And this is when they realize that the consequences of time travel.
Yeah, so let me step in right here. Wouldn't he disappear first? He's the youngest.
Well, I don't really understand all the concepts of time travel, but I would say that maybe not, because you're getting rid of the oldest first. I don't know. Does it work in reverse? I don't know. It hurt my head.
If anybody knows the concepts of time travel, please email the show at youcaneatthatcrust@gmail.com or gonnaeatthatcrust@gmail.com.
I think we all know the consequences of time travel thanks to Ashton Kutcher and the butterfly effect.
Oh, no. When he came back with no arms?
Yeah, bro.
That was acting.
A much more serious time travel movie. So then they come up with a plan. They have to get his parents back together because he's already realized that he's messed up, and he's changing the future, and then he might not exist if he keeps going down that path. So they just walk into high school. Doc, and Marty. Doc doesn't stick out at all.
Not at all.
So yeah, they go in to find his parents. So that, Doc has a plan to get his parents to mate.
Real quick, is this before they talk about that he can't get back to time because they don't have any plutonium, or he can't use the DeLorean because he can't get any plutonium? And then Doc has that line. He's like, well, this isn't 1985. Plutonium is not just sitting around every drug corner on the street.
Right. Yes. I'm sorry. I think that did happen in that scene. Yeah. And he was all shocked, like 121 megawatts.
Yeah.
Gigawatts. That's all you're going to get out of a lightning strike.
He gets all excited, and that's when the heavy line comes in. He's like, "You keep on using this word heavy. Is there something wrong with the gravitational pull in the future?"
Right. So yeah, that's when they devise the plan. They know that, Marty knows from history that the clock tower is going to be struck and damaged, and it's it's not. This is when it goes out. It's not working anymore, and it's still not working 30 years later. So the plan is to. It's a week from now. They gotta wait for that lightning strike to strike the clock tower. But in the meantime, they gotta get his parents to mate.
We need a montage.
Anyways, then we get this rapey scene with Biff and his mom, right? And I think it's in the cafeteria.
Yes, yeah. He's like fucking just like feeling her up, and Biff is very rapey.
Absolutely. So Marty interjects and stops. He's offended by Biff on his mom, and we get Biff's line: "Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?"
and then Back to the Future too. I think finally Future Biff corrects him. He's like, "It's make like a tree and leave, you idiot."
And that's what I love. We're skipping ahead a little bit, but that's what I love. The way you see Biff at the end of the movie. We'll go back to it, but. It kind of inspired, Biff, the Biff that they changed doesn't, he finds out and he wants to go back and change his self, right?
Yeah.
In the second movie?
Yeah. And when we do the second movie eventually.
Yeah. This definitely made me want to watch the sequels.
Yeah.
So anyways, now we get a scene where he's he shows up at George's house and he's in his bedroom playing Van Halen.
Says he's Darth Vader.
Yes, he's Darth Vader from Vulcan.
Yeah,
yes.
Because George says he likes the right side. Because he's like telling him, he's like, "Oh, aren't you interested in girls?" He's like, "I am, but I don't got time. I got my science fiction show, and I like to write science fiction stories." He's a real fucking nerd. All right.
Right. That's when they're talking in the cafeteria before Biff comes in.
Yeah.
So he says, "I'm Darth Vader from Vulcan." And he tells him he has to ask Lorraine out or he'd melt his brains. So the next scene, so we wake up the next morning and George comes and finds Marty at the gas station. I don't know why he's there or how he knew to find him there. And so he's written some things Marty helps him come up with some lines, right?
Girls love that shit.
Yeah. So they ended up going to the diner where Lorraine is. George walks in acting suave. "Lou, give me a milk." Chocolate.
Yeah, I love that. That was awesome. Yeah, that was very smooth.
And this is where he walks up to Lorraine and he's like, "Lorraine, I'm your density." He's trying to say destiny. So then Beth and Billy Zane come in, up to his antics again. And Marty trips him, and he turns on Marty. Marty tells him to look. He looks. Marty punches him, runs out the diner. And this is where we get like a kind of another skateboard scene. Although it's not a skateboard. It's kids. He finds these two kids riding these crate boxes with boards with wheels on them. I don't know what they were or how they even came about. I don't
it's like it's like a razor scooter, essentially.
I don't think they've ever used for anything. They made up for the movie, but it was a crate with like a plank and wheels. I don't know. So anyways, Biff and his cronies chase him in his convertible. He like doesn't he have they're coming right at him, and he like skates up head on with him. He jumps on the car, walks through the convertible right, and lands on a skateboard that went underneath the car. And then the Biff crashes into the manure truck.
Naturally.
And it fills up the convertible. Yes.
Ugh, every time I think of the manure scene, I think of the third movie there where the fucking cowboy Biff gets it and he's like, it's in his mouth.
Oh, wow, that's right.
So and he's like, I hate manure.
So he goes back to docks, and this time Lorraine follows him, right? Because she was there watching one of the bystanders. She came out of the diner, and they're like, "Who is he? Where does he come from?" I don't know, but I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, she's fucking soaked, dude. She's like on him right there. It's like, you just did the opposite, bro.
So yeah, Lorraine ends up stalking him and tracking him and following him down the docks. And she asks him to the dance. The what dance, Greg?
What dance, Ryan?
The something under the sea.
The enchantment under the sea.
Under the
where
sea.
They have their first kiss.
Under the sea.
That's racist.
So this dance is important. It's supposed to be where his father and mother share their first kiss. So he ends up agreeing, saying he'll go to the dance with Lorraine. LOL. Yeah, Mom, let's go to the dance. So he goes and finds George, and they devise a plan.
Which is so fucked up.
For his hair to tuck
Yeah,
up.
well, some of us had to go to the dance with our
plan is
mom.
fucked up. Well, no. You know. His plan's like fucked up. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get a little handsy with her, you know. It's like, I'm gonna make her mad. I'm gonna piss her off. Like, he's like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who came with the plan. So.
It was a bad plan, Marty.
So this is also, we're not at the dance yet. Before this, we see Marty writing the letter to Doc, right? Do not open until 1985. Don't get shot by terrorists, etc.
Good advice.
So the night of the dance, yes, the night of the dance comes up, and this is where I'm like, wow, the movie's like almost over, but like it was like a blur. Like this is a 2-hour movie, but I felt like it was too short to go into everything. I feel like I remember it being a longer movie.
I know, it just seems like 90 seconds when it's all
longer.
said and done.
Ooh.
So this is the scene with him and his mom in the car, right? And he's all nervous. And he's like, hey, how about I go park the car?
Oh, I know. I'm about parking. I love parking.
Yeah, I've parked cars before.
I just love it. Like, Jesus, you smoke too?
Yeah, so she pulls out a liquor bottle. She swiped from home. He pulls it away from her, tells her she shouldn't drink. Because she's like, why? Because you might regret it in the future. Because when we see her in the future, she's drunk and obviously unhappy.
Yeah,
Aren't we all?
I would be too if I came home. If I had to come home to George McFly and Marty's brother and sister every day.
His sister's pretty hot though.
Yeah.
She's like Tina meets the '80s from Bob's Burgers.
Yes, exactly. So then she ends up. So Marty grabs the flask and drinks it, whatever, and she ends up lighting up a cigarette. He's like, "You smoke too?" And Marty, you're beginning to act like my mother. So he briefly makes out with his mom, and she gets a weird feeling, pulls away. She's like, "This is wrong. It's like kissing my brother." This is where Beth and Billy Zane show up. Biff's goons drag Marty off so that Biff can rape his mom.
Yeah.
And they end up dragging him on and they throw him in an open trunk of a car. He's like, it ends up being the bandmates from the band
Marvin Berry and the Starlighters.
Yes, for the dance they have a band, and one was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, just mind your own business" and all that. And then all the bandmates get out of the car, they're like puffing, and they're like, "Forget it, we don't want to mess with any reefer addicts."
Yeah. There were some racial comments thrown their way, by the way, too. Also,
Right.
do you know who one of the dudes in the band is? It's the guy from Pitch Black, and he was in both. He was in like Chronic's Aritical as well, too. He's from Future Man. He's the guy who's got herpes in Future Man.
Yeah, I don't remember. He did look familiar, but I didn't remember all that. But yeah, I mean the band consists of African Americans, and this is 1955. So, So next, George comes along as planned. He's walking up to the car, except the plans change a little. It's not Marty in the car making out with his mom. It's Biff groping her. And this is where George finally gets some balls. He stands up to Biff. He knocks him out. Then Lorraine and George walk off, and hand in hand, Marty checks his photo, right? He notices his sister's halfway gone, and his elder brother is completely missing from the photo. And so we pan back to Marty with the band. One of the reefer addicts hurt his hand, getting Marty out of the trunk. He can't play the dance anymore. So this is where Marty's time to shine is. He steps up, and we have that infamous scene.
And what was the song they were playing?
I believe it was Johnny Be Good.
No, that's after. What's the first song they're playing?
Huey and Lewitt.
Earth Angel,
Earth
Earth
Angel.
Angel,
That's right. I mean,
be mine.
That might still be a dance. Maybe not still, but
That's a great fucking song, dude.
It's a good song, but I feel like the kids nowadays won't appreciate it. So this is, but he plays Johnny Be Good like he's trying to change history right then and there. I mean, you're plagiarizing Chuck Berry.
Yeah. Hey, Marvin. Or no, he's like, hey, Chuck, this is your cousin Marvin. Remember that sound you were looking for? This is it.
This is it.
He holds the phone up.
Right.
And then he's got that famous line that I literally say at every show when a song doesn't land. It's like,
I guess you guys aren't ready for that. Your kids will love it, though.
Yes, I say that every show I play. If no one claps, you're like, I guess you guys weren't ready for that one. But your kids are gonna love it.
Nice. I love that. So his George and Lorraine are dancing on the dance floor. I love that nerdy dude that comes up and just takes Lorraine from George.
And he's like, what the fuck is this? It's like camp. He's like, he's gonna rape her too. He's like, yeah. He's like laughing, pulling her, like assaulting her.
Right. I guess in 1955 you could still just act like a caveman.
In 1955, broads were still dames, you see.
So
shit on my house.
Marty's playing, and things go wrong. He's his hand's like fading, right? So he looks at the picture, and now himself in the photo is disappearing.
He's like missing chords. He can't even play the right chords.
Right, and the band's starting to notice like what's going on with this guy.
Like, bro, this is Earth Angel. Pick it up.
So now George is a tough guy now, so he ends up tossing the other nerd away and kisses Lorraine. So this is the infamous first kiss. And suddenly Marty and his siblings are coming back to the photo.
And he like jumps up and he hits it like right on a note. Like it's like a crazy note he hits. He like springs right up, and he fucking hits the guitar lick, and it's a pretty sweet scene actually.
I mean, yeah, this was a great scene. So all right, so now he plays the dance. He got his parents back together, and the photo is back to normal, right? So now it's time to go back to his time. So he goes to meet Doc. He's running a little late. Doc tells him the plan. They have 7 minutes and 22 seconds until the lightning strikes. So they're basically running a conductor from the clock tower down, draped across the road. He's got like a metal rod on the car that's supposed to hit that at precisely when the lightning strikes, and he's got to be going 88 miles per hour, right? And Doc tells Marty, don't worry. As long as you hit that wire with the connecting hook at 88 miles per hour, precisely when the lightning strikes the clock tower, you'll be okay. And obviously, it being a movie, things go wrong. Tree branch falls, disconnecting the wire. Marty tries to tell Doc about the future again, but Doc doesn't want to hear about the future. He doesn't want to influence things. He just doesn't want to hear it. And so he says, "Get in position, go get in the car, get going." And Marty's trying to start the DeLorean, and like every movie, the car's not starting, right?
Well, you got to hit it with your head.
and the cable ends up getting disconnected. So this is where Doc's hanging from the clock tower, trying to get the conductor, continuity back from the clock tower down to the road. And so he finally gets the car started, and he's there 80 minutes just on time. He gets back to his time, and he's in the mall parking lot, right? And he goes back to right before he left.
Well, first he crashes into the fucking he crashes into like the movie theater. He crashes into like a church. It's like he crashes into the Assembly of Christ, and then he's like, I still got time, and because the car won't start, he runs to the mall. Okay. And then he's like running to the mall, but he sees Doc getting shot as he's getting to the mall.
So he's watching the events unfold again, and he's too late, right? So he watches the Libyans chasing the other alteration of him around the parking lot, watching it happen again, and he watches himself disappear, going back in time. And then he goes over to Doc, and Doc's alive, right? This Doc was wearing a bulletproof vest this time.
Whoop, whoop.
He pulls out the note. He clearly read it, even though they show him lifting it up and throwing it, right?
Nice.
Yeah, but the letter he shows is all taped up.
Right, he put it back together and read it. So he's back to his time. He didn't change too much. And he gets home, he finds his future family, and he's mystified because they're all so different iterations of what they were, and everything seems to be better and more cohesive. And you find Biff waxing his family's car instead of the other way around, right?
And now, Biff, I want you to make sure there's 2 coats of wax on that. Don't go play around there, Biff. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. McFly. You're right. I was just starting the second one."
Yes. So you see his siblings, like his brother's got a good job. He's dressed up in a suit. His sister
still looks
has
sweet.
lots of boyfriends. She just in this somehow what he did in the past made it so she doesn't need glasses anymore.
Hey, Marty, I'm a whore. I'm banging everybody now.
He did. His mom's looking healthy and happy. Yeah, his parents come home and they're very happy, in love, and they both look great, right? And so his whole family is different, but like, he's the same. Like, how come he didn't change?
It's true.
So many like events in your life would have went down differently, I would think. This is one of the things about time, right? Even the smallest things can change so many things. Just it's like a pebble, right? It falls and just causes a landslide.
And then Ashton Kutcher has no arms.
I was gonna say it's like a butterfly effect almost.
But you got to watch him unfolding, and he looked exactly the same. He's wearing exactly the same clothing. So is that him, or is there another version of him? Going introduce another timeline to the multiverse. How does all this affect everything? Do you just keep creating more timelines and more versions of yourself? We need to get to the bottom of this, listeners. So please write in. We need to know more about time travel.
Thankfully, he's got a long career ahead of him. We'll find that out.
Anyways, so everything's happy like this. And this time, his mom loves Jennifer. And this time, his mom knew about him going to the cabin in the woods. He obviously has a better relationship with his parents. He talks to them. And Biff has his car ready. He goes in. It's that truck he was looking at in the beginning of the movie that he was dreaming about, and he has that truck. And now in this better future for him and his family.
Hell yeah.
And this is where Doc shows up in the DeLorean, and I love this. I love this setup. They obviously knew they were going to do a sequel. They knew this movie was going to be a hit. DeLorean tells them that you got to go to the future and change some things. And what about Jennifer? This involves Jennifer too. Let's take her. Was Jennifer is the same actor in the second one, or did they change her?
Yes, the same actor.
But they changed Crispin Glover, right? I think.
Yes. They AI'd him too. Like he sued because they tried to use his likeness.
Yeah, that's right. I did read that.
But they were like, yeah. He's like, what's wrong with your? He's like, it's a bunch of kids, Marty. He's like, what are they, assholes? Or no, he's like, what are we, assholes? He's like, no, it's not about you. It's a bunch of kids.
Right. So they got to go back and change something for their kids that we don't know what it is. We'll have to wait till the sequel. But now we notice that the DeLorean flies. And this is where you get that line. Ryan? Doc.
Future time. Where we're going, we don't need no roads.
You said it wrong. Well, we're going.
Damn it.
We need roads.
Roads! Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Do you remember the Family Guy one where he shows up? He's like, Marty, Jennifer, it's a bunch of kids. They marry a black guy. They're like, oh, my God. And he's like, oh, we're cool with that. He's like, oh, you are? Okay. They're like, yeah, Doc, we're gonna stop hanging out with you. It's pretty good.
So I feel like this is where the movie ends, and we get Back to the Future by Huey Lewis again.
Hell yeah! I wanted it. I got it.
I feel like when he came back, I don't know his older brother's name, but I feel like his older brother would have been named Marty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because his parents adored him, and they were like, Marty, that's a great name.
Yeah.
I feel like their firstborn would have been named Marty, so he would have came back, and his brother would have been named Marty.
Yeah, that would have been a trip.
I think that would have been hilarious.
He starts calling him his name. Oh, that would have been really good writing, actually. He's like, yeah, I'm Marty.
Well, that would have been funny. What wasn't there a Back to the Future cartoon too?
Yes,
I think it was pretty good too. I think I used to watch it. I don't remember it a lot, but
I think
I had at least a couple seasons.
I really wanted to buy a vest after watching that.
All right.
And
Lou from the diner. What are you doing? What are you wearing the life vest?
Yeah, I was gonna say they always kept on asking him about the He's like, yeah. He's like, one day. He's like, yeah, he's gonna run for mayor. He's like, yeah, mayor.
Yeah.
That's
Sonny
a
Will.
good shot. Yeah.
Sonny Will. What's his name? I don't remember.
Yeah. There's more racist. She's like, you're a janitor. You can't do shit. It's like, Jesus Christ. Come on. Nice.
So I had some fun facts about the movie I'd like to go into.
That'd be fun.
All right. So writer Bob Gale came across his father's yearbook, and he wondered if he went back in time and met his 17-year-old dad at the same age as him, would they be friends? And that's where the premise for the movie came, just from finding his father's yearbook. So he sent the idea to Zemeckis, and they came up with 3 basic ideas. A high school kid gets sent back in time. He will meet his parents. His mother will fall in love with him. Yeah.
Creepy.
It's a great premise.
It's good. Yeah, it is. It's great. It wouldn't have been. I don't think it would have been the same if it didn't go down the way it did. I mean,
just so many great joke opportunities, and it's just. But that's like with Rick and Morty. Like the whole back and forth of the future shit is just awesome, and in different dimensions. You can kind of play with anything and joke about anything. It's awesome.
So Marty's surname originally was not McFly, but it was going to be McDermott.
McDermott,
right.
Yeah.
The famous clock tower climax to the movie wasn't part of the script. Marty and Doc were going to visit a nuclear test site in Nevada, and a nuclear explosion would send the DeLorean back to the future. And this was changed because the whole sequence would have proved too expensive.
So Biff would have knocked on his head and been like, McDermott, anybody home? Stupid.
Exactly. The final scene originally didn't play out how it does in the film either. where Doc turns up back at Marty's house, taking him and Jennifer to the future. It originally ended with George looking at a 1955 newspaper with a picture of Marty playing Johnny B. Goode on stage and saying, "It can't be, but it is."
That would have been great.
So the script was rejected many, many times. Based on the concept, Columbia Pictures commissioned Zemeckis and Gale to write a screenplay. They did that, but Columbia rejected it. At this point, Zemeckis and Gale showed the script to their friend and movie legend Steven Spielberg. He loved it. Spielberg said, "It was a very unusual story, but based on old-fashioned principles like a family and coming of age and dreams and desires and the generation gap. It was really terrific." Spielberg wanted his production company, Amblin Entertainment, to make the film, but Zemeckis and Gale didn't want to become known as the guys who only got jobs because they were friends with Steven Spielberg. Instead, they sent it around to every studio in Hollywood. The script for Back to the Future was rejected by studios 44 times. Columbia said it was too sweet. Universal originally said time travel movies don't make any money. And Disney said it was too incestuous.
Thank you. Finally. Disney is reasonable.
And here, flash 30 years to the future, we have Game of Thrones. Or 20 years of probably Game of Thrones. In the first drafts, the time machine was a time chamber, a room that Marty would go into and be zapped back in time. That then changed to a big 1950s-style refrigerator that Marty would climb into, and the refrigerator would travel back in time. Like hot tub time machine?
Yeah, it's almost like The Fly as well, too. Like,
Bill and Ted?
Zemeckis and Spielberg scrapped the idea when they became worried about children climbing into refrigerators and becoming trapped.
ooh.
Where's Cherry? Zemeckis then had the idea of using a car as it meant the time machine could be mobile and involved in more exciting scenes, like when the Libyans were chasing Marty. He wanted something that looked...
So
Good.
they turned down the fridge. They're like, that's too dangerous. But they kept the skateboard hanging off the car scene?
They're trying to
Back then, you run out of rival for that shit. But
yeah.
get a kid in the refrigerator. So, anyways, they wanted something that looked futuristic and cool, so the DeLorean was brought in. The CEO of DeLorean Car Company was so grateful. I think after this movie, they started calling him John DeLorean. His name was John, but I don't remember what his last name was. So Michael J. Fox was not the first person cast as Marty. He was Zemeckis' first choice to play him, but at the time, Fox was working on a sitcom called Family Ties, and they wouldn't release Michael to do Back to the Future. So Zemeckis had no choice but to go through the typical casting process. And we had John Cusack, Charlie Sheen, Ralph Macchio, and Johnny Depp all auditioned unsuccessfully for the part of Marty. The successful auditionee was Eric Stoltz. So filming started with Stoltz as Marty, but there were issues almost immediately with Zemeckis feeling they weren't getting the laughs the movie needed. Leah Thompson tells a story about the first ever table reading with the whole cast where everybody was laughing and joking as they read the scripts. Afterwards, Stoltz was asked what he thought and said, "Everybody's laughing, but it's not a comedy. It's a tragedy. My whole family remembers a different history to what I do. It's really very sad." Stoltz was let go by Zemeckis 6 weeks into production, and Zemeckis has since called firing Stoltz the worst moment of my career.
He then went on to make the rom-com The Mask.
And Powder. Is Stoltz in
I mean,
Powder?
Stoltz been, I don't know about that, but he's been in a lot of things.
He's been in The Fly, too.
He was never, I don't think he was ever the, AAA star, but he's been in a lot of...
Yeah, literally my favorite role from Stoltz is the fucking Pulp Fiction role.
Yeah, he was the drug dealer, right?
Yep.
So anyways, after Stoltz was let go, Zemeckis went back to Family Ties and asked again if they could release Michael J. Fox. Family Ties this time let Fox read the script. He loved it and begged Family Ties co-creator Gary Goldberg to let him make the movie. Goldberg relented on the condition that the Family Ties schedule was not interrupted. This meant Fox had to work on Family Ties and Back to the Future at the same time, going on just 3 hours of sleep per night. Fox rehearsed for Family Ties from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., then rushed back rushed to the Back to the Future set where he'd rehearse and shoot until 3:30 a.m. This schedule lasted for 2 months.
What was his Family Ties character name?
Alex P. Keaton.
Boom! Count it.
I used to watch that show like every week too. I can hardly remember any of it now.
Father was in Tremors.
Yes, I know that, and every Tremors.
Yeah, he's the only one.
I feel like he's died and been in like any. I don't know. Tremors and come back. I don't know. So Christopher Lloyd initially turned down the role. He didn't want it, but he ended up getting a visit from, I think, Zemeckis, and he ended up convincing him only if he could let him base the character on Einstein. And things did not go smoothly on set with Crispin Glover, who was George McFly.
Yeah, I heard he was a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Zemeckis and him had some friction on set. Zemeckis has said about working with Glover, I was endlessly throwing a net over Crispin because he was completely off about 50% of the time in his interpretation of the character. At the end of the shooting, Glover questioned the end of the film. He thought that McFly shouldn't be financially well off when Marty goes back to 1985 and said to Zemeckis, love should be the reward, not money. In Glover's words, Zemeckis got really mad. Crispin Glover did not return for Back to the Future 2, where the character of George only appears in 2 scenes and is played by another actor. So he sued the studio for use of his likeness. He received a settlement, but the whole experience effectively ended his career in Hollywood.
But he's back.
But yeah, I was going to say, hasn't he done other things?
Yeah, he was in that Guillermo del Toro horror show recently.
I thought
Cabinet of Curiosities.
Yeah, he was in that artist one. Yes, he was the one in the artist one where the guy was drawing all the fucked up pictures that were coming to life. Yep. It is in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Michael J. Fox wanted it to appear like Marty is playing the guitar for real, so he took lessons from a musician called Paul Hansen. Hansen praised Fox for his work ethic and being a quick study, and the movie works better for it. For the vocal performance, Zemeckis wanted it to sound like Marty was actually singing. So the music supervisor on Back to the Future, Bones Howe, put out a casting call to find somebody that sounded like Michael J. Fox might when singing. A young musician called Mark Chapman saw the ad and practiced to sound like Fox. He auditioned, won the part, and that's who we hear singing Johnny B. Good.
It sounds terrible. It sounds nothing like Michael J. Fox. It sounds like a completely different voice. You can tell it's different.
Yeah.
He just played with Coldplay on guitar, Michael J. Fox, recently. So
that's about it. This movie, was an instant classic. It's one of the most popular movies ever made. Film made Michael J. Fox a movie sensation overnight. It was nominated for 3 Oscars: Best Original Screenplay, Best Sound, and Best Original Song for Power of Love. Took in $389 million at the box office and was the highest-grossing movie of the year.
Sweet. Well, I got a little thing. I got a little question I asked the audiences, the listeners, and our fellow podcast mates at You Run Podcast Network. So I'll let you guys answer this as well. I posed the questions: what would you do and where would you go if you could go back to said future? And I got a couple responses. One of them was from Dewey Pod Monster, and they said December 12th, 1980. I'd buy as much Apple stock as I possibly could.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And serious.
Right? A smarty. They're like, it's probably not the funniest answer we're looking for. I said, we're not looking for funny. We just want answers. And he said, it was the smartest answer we got.
Well, I mean, they already said it, right? In the movie, and they do it actually in the part 2. Where
the Sports Almanac.
Sports Almanac,
Yeah. And then Nate Harvey, from Not Just a Spectator fame, said he would go back and focus his musical energy on From Here Down, which was one of his pop, punk, kind of emo bands, but they were fucking really tight. They were very good. He said he would also go back to Mark's show place and see me and say, I'll see you in the future. Sheamus, where would you go and what would you do if you could go back to the future?
I would clearly go back and study and become a doctor and cure cancer.
All right. It's a good answer. It's a lot of money involved. You'd probably you'd get the cure for cancer, and then they'd probably kill you.
Big Pharma?
Yes, exactly. They take a big Q-tip and like smash it down on you.
Probably.
Ryan, what would you do if you could go back in time? Where would you go?
I wouldn't change anything. I'm walking perfection. I'm an Adonis. Pure strength, power, agility, intelligence, charisma. I mean, why would I change?
You don't want to go back and you don't want to steal the Colonel's recipe?
No. Colonel's a bitch.
You said, oh.
You're saying your chicken's better than the Colonel's.
Yeah, I am.
All right. I believe you.
Adonis.
Yeah.
Me.
You making your own hot sauce yet?
Yeah, I am making my own hot sauce. Biznatch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to trying it.
Yeah, I'm looking
And the
forward.
best chicken in New England.
Yeah. Wander with me, baby.
Woo! Yeah, I want to thank everyone for listening. You're all a beautiful,
Gotta go.
beautiful audience.
I want to say thanks for everyone for listening. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Pod Music, YouTube. You can go on our Patreon on Anchor. Check us out. Again, we're on You Run Podcast Network. Check out all the shows.
Yeah, I would like to thank you all for writing in, listening, and giving us topics and ideas and questions. Thank you.
Did we just all talk over each other right there? What happened? Spread that out.
I had to hop in if he was going to do it.
All right, Ryan, go ahead. Start it.
All right. And remember,
In
Crust,
we trust.
we trust.
This ends our podcast.
Is that a Devo suit?
He's like, what are we, assholes? He's like, no, it's not about you. It's about the kids.
Future time.